My uncle was going to force my 11-year-old cousin into marriage, so I stood up and spoke out. 2 years later, half the family is in jail and the other half wants me to pretend it never happened. Jake Martinez pulled his Honda Civic into the gravel driveway of his Uncle Raymond's ranch house in rural Texas. At 29, he'd made the 3-hour drive from Austin every Thanksgiving for the past decade, but something felt different this year. The November air carried an unusual tension as he grabbed the pumpkin pie from his passenger seat. Inside, the familiar chaos of the Martinez family gathering was in full swing. Cousins ran between rooms while the adults clustered around the kitchen island, discussing everything from football to politics. The smell of turkey and cornbread filled the air, just like every year. But Jake noticed something odd. His 11-year-old cousin, Sophia, sat quietly in the corner, no longer the bubbly kid who used to tackle him at the door. Her usual bright smile was replaced by a hollow stare, and she barely touched her plate of mashed potatoes and green bean casserole. "Sophia's been acting weird lately," whispered his teenage cousin Marcus, sliding up beside Jake near the dessert table. Ever since Uncle Raymond started talking about her future, Jake's stomach tightened. "What do you mean, her future?" Marcus glanced around nervously. "I heard him on the phone with someone last week. Something about arrangements and traditions. Said Sophia was old enough now, and that the family back in Mexico had found her good match." The words hit Jake like a punch to the gut. He looked across the room at Uncle Raymond, who was laughing loudly with the other men, his beer bottle gesturing wildly as he told some story. Then Jake's eyes found Sophia again, and this time he saw what he'd missed before: fear. "A good match?" Jake's voice came out sharper than intended. "Marcus, what exactly did you hear?" But before Marcus could answer, Uncle Raymond's booming voice cut through the room. "Sophia, come here, Major. I want to tell everyone about your exciting news." Sophia's face went pale. She stood slowly, her small hands trembling as she smoothed down her dress. The entire room fell silent, 30 pairs of eyes turning toward the uncle and niece. Jake felt his heart racing. Something was very, very wrong. What exciting news is Uncle Raymond about to announce about 11-year-old Sophia?
Uncle Raymond's arm wrapped around Sophia's shoulders as she stood beside him, looking like she might throw up. The room buzzed with anticipation. Everyone loved family announcements. "Our little Sophia is growing up," Raymond declared, his voice carrying that fake cheerfulness Jake had learned to distrust. "She's been chosen for a very special honor. The Herrera family back in Guadalajara has asked for her hand in marriage to their son, Diego." The room erupted in confused murmurs. Aunt Carmen dropped her coffee mug, sending ceramic shards across the linoleum floor. "Raymond, what are you talking about?" Jake's mother, Elena, stepped forward, her face pale. "Sophia is 11 years old. It's tradition, Elena," Raymond snapped, his jovial mask slipping. "The Herreras are a good family. Wealthy. Diego is 17, a good age to start a family. They'll wait until Sophia is 13 to make it official, but the betrothal needs to happen now." Jake felt the room spinning. Around him, family members were either nodding in uncomfortable agreement or staring in shock. His grandmother, Abuela Rosa, was actually smiling and clapping her hands. "This is how it was done in the old country," she said in her thick accent. "Sophia is lucky to have such a good match." "The old country." Jake's voice cracked as he stood up. "Abuela, this is Texas. It's 2023. You can't just sell off children like livestock." "Nobody's selling anyone." Raymond's voice turned dangerous. "This is about honor, about family, about keeping our traditions alive." Sophia finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "I don't want to get married. I want to go to school. I want to be a teacher." "You'll learn to be a good wife," Raymond said firmly. "The decision is made. Diego's family is coming next month to meet you properly. The ceremony will happen on your 13th birthday." Jake looked around the room desperately. Some family members were nodding along, others looked uncomfortable but stayed silent. His own parents seemed frozen in shock. "This is insane," Jake said, his voice getting louder. "You're talking about forcing a child into marriage. That's not tradition, that's abuse." The room went dead silent. Uncle Raymond's face turned red, and Jake could see the veins bulging in his neck. "Boy, you better watch your mouth in my house," Raymond said slowly. "This is family business. Stay out of it." But Jake was already moving toward Sophia, whose tears were now flowing freely. Will Jake back down under family pressure, or will he take a stand that could tear the family apart? Jake knelt down in front of Sophia, ignoring the hostile stares from around the room. Her small hands were shaking as she wiped her tears with the back of her sleeve. "Sophia, look at me," he said gently. "Do you understand what your dad just said?" She nodded miserably. "He says I have to marry Diego because it's what good girls do. But Jake, I'm scared. I don't even know him." The room was so quiet you could hear the grandfather clock ticking in the hallway. Jake stood up slowly, his decision crystallizing with each passing second. "Raymond, I need to talk to you. Privately. Anything you have to say, you can say in front of the family," Raymond replied, crossing his arms. "Fine." Jake turned to face the room. "What you're describing isn't marriage, it's human trafficking. Sophia is a child. She deserves to grow up, go to school, and choose her own life." Chaos erupted. Voices rose as family members took sides. Abuela Rosa was shouting in Spanish about disrespectful children. Aunt Carmen was crying. Several uncles were standing up, their faces red with anger. "You don't understand our culture." Uncle Miguel shouted. "This is how we've done things for generations. Then maybe it's time to change." Jake shot back. "Just because something is traditional doesn't make it right." Raymond stepped forward, his face inches from Jake's. "You're not welcome here anymore. Get out of my house. I'm not leaving without Sophia. She's not going anywhere. She's my daughter, and I'll decide what's best for her." Jake pulled out his phone. "Then I'm calling the police." The room exploded again. Several family members lunged toward Jake, but his father, Roberto, stepped between them. "Everyone stop," Roberto shouted. "This is Thanksgiving, not a war zone." But Jake was already dialing 911. Raymond tried to grab the phone, but Jake dodged away. "911, what's your emergency?" "I need to report a planned forced marriage of a minor," Jake said clearly, his voice carrying across the silent room. "An 11-year-old girl is being forced into an arranged marriage." The operator's voice was professional but urgent. "Sir, what's your location?" As Jake gave the address, he watched his family's faces transform from anger to horror. They were realizing that this wasn't just a family argument anymore, this was about to become a legal matter. Uncle Raymond's face had gone from red to white. "Hang up that phone right now, or you're dead to this family." Jake met his uncle's eyes. "Then I guess I'm dead to this family." The police are on their way, but will they take the situation seriously, or will the family close ranks to protect their secret? The two police officers who arrived at the Martinez house looked like they'd rather be anywhere else on Thanksgiving evening. Officer Sarah Johnson, a veteran with kind eyes, took the lead while her partner, Officer Mike Chen, took notes. "So you're reporting a planned forced marriage?" Officer Johnson asked Jake as they stood on the front porch, away from the hostile family gathering inside. "My uncle is trying to force his 11-year-old daughter into marriage with a 17-year-old boy in Mexico," Jake explained. "The ceremony is planned for her 13th birthday." Officer Chen looked skeptical. "Has any crime actually been committed yet?" Jake's heart sank. "They're planning it. Isn't that enough?" "Planning a future marriage isn't illegal, even if we find it morally questionable," Officer Johnson said carefully. "But let me talk to the child." Inside the house, the atmosphere was toxic. Family members glared at Jake like he'd committed treason. Sophia sat huddled on the couch between her mother, Maria, and Abuela Rosa, both of whom were whispering urgently in her ear. "Sophia," Officer Johnson approached gently. "I'm Officer Johnson. Can you tell me about this marriage your father mentioned?" Sophia's eyes darted nervously between the officer and her family. I don't know what you mean." "She's just confused," Maria interjected quickly. "All this talk has upset her. There's no forced marriage. It's just family discussion about traditions." But Officer Johnson was experienced. She crouched down to Sophia's eye level. "Sophia, are you afraid of anything at home?" Before Sophia could answer, Uncle Raymond stepped forward. "Officer, this is harassment. Some misguided family members have blown a private conversation out of proportion. We were discussing cultural traditions, not planning any crimes." "What about the Herrera family coming next month?" Jake pressed. "What about Diego?" "Diego is a family friend," Raymond said smoothly. "We were joking about the kids getting married someday. You know how families tease about these things." Jake watched in horror as his uncle manipulated the situation. The other family members were nodding along, backing up Raymond's story. Officer Johnson looked frustrated. "Without evidence of imminent danger or a specific crime, there's not much we can do tonight." but I'm going to file a report and refer this to Child Protective Services. That won't be necessary, Maria said quickly. This is all a misunderstanding. As the officers prepared to leave, Officer Johnson handed Jake her card. If you see any signs of immediate danger, call us immediately. After the police left, the house fell silent except for the sound of Sophia crying softly on the couch. Uncle Raymond turned to Jake with cold eyes. You've made a huge mistake, boy. This family doesn't forget. With the police unable to act immediately, will Jake be able to protect Sophia, or has he just made the situation worse? 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, Jake couldn't sleep. He'd been researching forced marriage laws, calling advocacy groups, and checking on Sophia whenever he could. His family had essentially excommunicated him, his phone calls went unanswered, and he was blocked from social media accounts. Then Sophia called him from her school phone during lunch. Jake. Her voice was tiny and scared. Can you come get me? Please. What's wrong, Sophia? They're here. The Herrera family. They came early. Daddy says I have to meet Diego today after school, and then they want to take me to Mexico for Christmas to get to know the family better. Jake's blood ran cold. Sophia, stay at school. Don't go home. I'm coming to get you right now. He broke every speed limit getting to Lincoln Elementary School. Sophia was waiting by the front office, her backpack clutched tightly in her small hands. Jake. She ran to him, and he swept her up in a hug. It's okay, sweetheart. You're safe now. But as they walked toward his car, Jake spotted Raymond's red pickup truck pulling into the school parking lot. His uncle got out, along with a man Jake didn't recognize, tall, well-dressed, with cold eyes. Behind them, a teenage boy emerged from the truck. Diego. Sophia. Raymond called out. Come here right now. Sophia pressed closer to Jake. I don't want to go with them. You don't have to, Jake said firmly, pulling out his phone to call 911 again. But before he could dial, the well-dressed man approached. You must be the troublemaker cousin, he said in accented English. I am Carlos Herrera. Perhaps we can discuss this like civilized men. There's nothing to discuss, Jake replied. Sophia is a child. She's not going anywhere with you. The arrangements have been made, Carlos said calmly. Diego is a good boy. He will take care of Sophia. This is how our families have always done business. Business? Jake's voice rose. You're talking about a little girl like she's a commodity. That's when Jake noticed other cars arriving. More family members. Aunt Carmen, Uncle Miguel, even some cousins Jake barely knew. They were forming a circle around him and Sophia. Jake, just let her go, Aunt Carmen pleaded. You're making this harder than it needs to be. The whole family is in on this, Jake realized with growing horror. You're all involved. It's tradition, Uncle Miguel said. The Herreras are good people. They'll treat Sophia well. Sophia was crying now, clinging to Jake's jacket. Please don't let them take me. I want to stay here. I want to go to school. Jake looked around at the faces of people he'd called family his entire life. They were all staring at him with expressions ranging from anger to pity, but none of them were looking at Sophia. Over my dead body, he said quietly. Surrounded by family members who support the forced marriage, can Jake protect Sophia, or will they overpower him? The standoff in the school parking lot lasted only minutes before Principal Williams emerged from the building, having heard the commotion. What's going on here? She demanded, immediately positioning herself between the adults and Sophia. Family matter, Raymond said tersely. We're taking Sophia home. Actually, Jake said quickly, I've been trying to reach Child Protective Services about Sophia's situation. She's being forced into marriage. Principal Williams' expression hardened. Everyone needs to step back. Now. That's when Jake made his decision. He pulled out his phone and did something he'd been preparing for weeks. He started recording. Uncle Raymond, can you tell everyone here about Sophia's engagement to Diego Herrera? Turn that off. Raymond lunged for the phone, but Jake dodged. Carlos, can you explain to the camera why you're here to collect an 11-year-old girl? This is private family business, Carlos said, but his calm facade was cracking. Sophia, can you tell everyone what you want to do with your life? I want to go to school, Sophia said through her tears, her voice growing stronger. I want to be a teacher. I don't want to get married. The video captured everything, the family's angry faces, Diego looking uncomfortable, Sophia's tears, and most damning of all, Carlos Herrera's final threat, the girl belongs to us now. The money has been paid. Money. Principal Williams stepped forward. Did you just say money was paid for this child? That's when Carlos realized his mistake. In his anger, he just admitted to purchasing a child on camera. Within an hour, the parking lot was swarming with police cars and CPS vehicles. Jake's video had been sent to every local news station and uploaded to social media. The story was spreading faster than wildfire. Detective Lisa Rodriguez took Jake's statement while Sofia was taken into protective custody. This video is going to be crucial evidence, she said. You may have just saved this girl's life. The arrest started that evening. Raymond was charged with conspiracy to commit human trafficking. Carlos Herrera was arrested for attempting to purchase a minor. Over the next several days, as the investigation deepened, more family members were implicated. The police discovered this wasn't an isolated incident. The Martinez and Herrera families had been arranging these marriages for years, with money changing hands and girls as young as 12 being sent to Mexico. Bank records showed payments, text messages revealed the network, and other victims began coming forward. Within 2 weeks, 8 family members were arrested. The FBI got involved when they realized the operation crossed international borders. Jake's phone rang constantly, reporters, legal advocates, other family members begging him to recant his story. He ignored them all. With half the family facing serious federal charges, what will happen to the other half who were complicit in the silence? Jake sat in his new apartment in Dallas, reading the newspaper headline, "Local Family Trafficking Ring, Final Sentences Handed Down." Uncle Raymond had gotten 15 years. Carlos Herrera got 20. 6 other family members received sentences ranging from 5 to 12 years. His phone buzzed with a text from Sofia. Guess what? I made honor roll again. And I got accepted to the summer science camp. Jake smiled. Sofia was thriving in her foster home with the Johnsons, a family who encouraged her dreams of becoming a teacher. She was in therapy, but she was laughing again. She was playing soccer. She was being a kid. The doorbell rang. Jake opened it to find his mother, Elena, standing in the hallway with a casserole dish and red-rimmed eyes. Can I come in? She asked quietly. They sat in uncomfortable silence for several minutes before Elena spoke. The family wants you to come to Christmas dinner next week. Jake nearly choked on his coffee. Are you serious? Raymond is in prison. Carlos is in prison. The others, they've learned their lesson. We just want to move on. Move on. Jake stared at his mother in disbelief. Mom, they tried to sell Sofia to human traffickers. They've been doing this for years. Other girls were hurt because of their silence. That's in the past now, Elena said desperately. We need to heal as a family. What about Sofia? Is she invited to Christmas dinner? Elena looked away. She's not really family anymore. She's with those people now. Jake stood up. Get out. Jake, please. You're my son. I miss you. I miss my family too, Jake said sadly. But the family I miss never existed. It was built on lies and the suffering of little girls. After Elena left, Jake called Sofia. How are you doing, kiddo? Good. Mrs. Johnson is teaching me to make chocolate chip cookies. And Jake, I got something in the mail today. It's a letter from a girl named Isabella. She said she saw the news about our family, and it gave her courage to tell someone about her situation. The police helped her too. Jake felt tears in his eyes. That's wonderful, Sofia. Jake, I know the family is mad at you. But you saved me. You saved Isabella. You're the best cousin ever. As Jake hung up the phone, he looked at the framed photo on his desk, Sofia at her school science fair, holding a first-place ribbon and beaming with pride. He'd lost a family, but he'd saved a life. And in the end, that was the only choice he could live with.